We continue now at the top of Daf Mem Zayin Amud Beis in Meseches Nazir. This is Nazir Daf 47b. The Gemara is in the middle of asking, let's say you have a Mashuach b'Shemen HaMishcha, you have a Kohen Gadol who's anointed with the oil, that was the oil that was used in the times of the first Beis HaMikdash, and he's walking together, Umeruba begadim, he's walking together with a Kohen Gadol who was not anointed with the oil, but it's a Kohen Gadol who wears the begadim of the Kohen Gadol. Mashuach b'Shemen HaMishcha adif, so the Gemara says it's obvious that the one who's anointed with the Shemen HaMishcha, with the oil, he certainly takes precedence, he should be the one to remain pure. The ilu mashuach b'shemen hamishcha maybe par habo al kol mitzvahs, because when it comes to a Kohen Gadol who's mashuach b'shemen hamishcha, who's anointed with the oil, so he brings a bull which is brought over all mitzvahs. That refers to a situation where the Kohen Gadol who's mashuach b'shemen hamishcha, he rules incorrectly regarding a halacha that a regular person would need to bring a carbon chatas. So in such a situation, he has to bring this par habo al kol mitzvahs. The ilu meruba begadim ein maybe, but when it comes to meruba begadim, he doesn't bring that carbon, and so you see that the Mashuach b'Shemen HaMishcha is a higher status, so he's the one that should remain pure. And Rashi explains, Mashuach b'Shemen HaMishcha u'meruba begadim. Again, you have walking together a Kohen Gadol who's anointed with the Shemen HaMishcha, and one who's just anointed by wearing the garments of the Kohen Gadol. Kilomar v'apshitol, means the Gemara means to say it's obvious. The Kohen Gadol shenimshach b'Shemen HaMishcha kodem shenignaz sinsenes hamon. Kohen Gadol who was anointed with the oil before the sinsenes hamon was hidden away. U'makla shel Aaron b'Shemen HaMishcha, the sinsenes hamon, makla shel Aaron, Shemen HaMishcha, they were all hidden away v'mei Yoshio. The Kohen Gadol shelo nimshach b'Shemen HaMishcha, he's together with the Kohen Gadol who was not anointed with the Shemen HaMishcha. She'omid b'kunaso la'achar shenignaz Shemen HaMishcha, meaning he's a Kohen after the time that the Shemen HaMishcha was hidden away. Afil of a Bayis Rishon, this could even be in Bayis Rishon. Ve'ein beino levein Kohen hedyot ela shu meruba begadim. A Kohen that's meruba begadim, he's not anointed with the oil. The only difference between him and a regular Kohen is that he's wearing the garments of the Kohen Gadol. Shemeshamish beches begadim, he's wearing the 8 garments, b'bigdei lavan u'bigdei zav, the garments, the white garments and the golden garments. The Kohen hedyot eino meshamish ela bedalit, and the Kohen hedyot, a regular Kohen, has 4 garments. So hanami pshita, again, it's obvious shem hayu mahalchin b'derech u'mitzvah meis mitzvah, that if the two of them are walking together and they find the meis mitzvah, the mitame meruba begadim v'lo yitma mashuach b'shemen hamishcha, the one who should become tamei is the meruba begadim, not the one who was anointed by the oil. Misham di'u adif, because the mashuach b'shemen hamishcha is better. Shekain mevi par helam al kol mitzvahs, he brings this bull al kol mitzvahs kamot tzibur. It's the same that the community brings. Kedachsivim hakohen hamashiach v'gomer. That's what the pasuk talks about. The Kohen that's anointed. Kilomar shehu mevi korban al ashmaso kamot tzibur al ashmasan. He brings the carbon for his sin in the same way that tzibur does. Aval meruba begadim, but a meruba begadim eino dino ela kiyachid. He's treated like an individual who sins. He's not treated like the tzibur, and that shows that the mashuach b'shemen hamishcha is preferred over the mashuach, over the meruba begadim, and the meruba begadim is the one who should become tamei. And the Gemara continues, Mashuach she'avar u'meruba begadim. Let's say you have a situation of a Mashuach she'avar, meaning he was anointed, but that was in the past, and a meruba begadim. Rashi says, Mashuach she'avar kilomar kodem shenignaz shemen hamishcha, meaning again, he was Mashuach, he was anointed with the oil. V'ira keri b'kohen gadol, and then what happened was, the Kohen Gadol became a Baal Keri, became Tamei. Uminu acher tachtav, they had appointed someone else instead of the first Kohen Gadol. Umashchu, and they anointed him with the oil. V'yachar kach k'sheniter Kohen Gadol. Now, after the original Kohen Gadol becomes pure again, chozer la'avoda, so the original one returns to his avoda. V'sheni overload. That's called a Meshuach she'avar. The second one who replaced him, he's called a Meshuach in the past. He served in the past to replace the Kohen Gadol. Let's say you have a Meshuach she'avar, umeruba begadim, and a meruba begadim. So there, meruba begadim adif. The meruba begadim is actually preferred. He stays pure to meruba begadim avid avoda, because the meruba begadim, he serves the avoda in the Beis Hamikdash. Ve'ilo mashuach she'avar la bar avoda, and the mashuach she'avar, he no longer is fit for the avoda, so the meruba begadim is first. Avar machmas kiruya v'avar machmas mumana. Let's say you have a Kohen Gadol who can't serve because he's a Baal Keri, and you have another Kohen Gadol who can't serve because of a mum, because of a blemish. So avar machmas kiruya v'adif. So the one who can't serve because he's a Baal Keri, he's preferred. De'iluhai chazi la'avod l'machar, because if a person's a Baal Keri, a Kohen Gadol's a Baal Keri, he just needs to purify himself. He saw a seminal emission, he purifies himself, and then he's fit to serve tomorrow. Ve'ilu avar machmas muma, but a Kohen Gadol who can't serve because of a blemish, lo chazi la'avod, he's not fit to serve in the Beis Hamikdash, so that's why the machmas kiruyav, that one is going to take precedence. But the question is as follows. They had the following question. Mashuach milchama usgan. Let's say you have the Mashuach milchama. That's the Kohen that's anointed and goes out to war with the people. And the Sgan is the vice Kohen Gadol. So Haminayu Adif. Which one takes precedence? Mashuach milchama adif techazil milchama. On the one hand, you could say the Mashuach milchama takes precedence because he's fit to go out to war. Or maybe the Sgan, the vice Kohen Gadol, is preferred because he's fit to serve in the Beis Hamikdash. And the Gemara says, Tashma, come in here the following proof. The Tanya, as we learned in a Brisa, Ein bein Mashuach milchama l'Sgan. There's no difference between Mashuach milchama and Sgan. Elashim hayu mahalchin b'derech. The only difference is as follows. Let's say they're both walking on the road, umitzo meis mitzvah, and they find the meis mitzvah. Yitma Mashuach Melchama, the Mashuach Melchama should be the one to become Tamei. Vial Yitma Haskan, and the Skan should not be the one to become Tamei, so it is clear that the Skan takes precedence in terms of a Meis Mitzvah. But the Gemara says, Vatanya, but didn't we learn another Brisa? Mashuach Melchama Kodem L'Skan, that the Mashuach Melchama takes precedence over the Skan. And the Gemara explains it depends on the context. Amar Mar Zutra says, Le'inyan Hachiyosu, in terms of, let's say you have to keep one of them alive, so Mashuach Melchama Adif, the Mashuach Melchama actually takes precedence. My time, what's the reason? The Tolu Bei Rabbim, because the public depends on him in terms of going out to war. Ulinyan Tuma, but when it comes to impurity, Sgan Adif, so then actually the vice Kohen Gadol, he takes precedence. The Tanya, as we learned in a Brisa, Rabbi Chanina ben Antignas Omer, Rabbi Chanina ben Antignas says, Lama Tiknu Sgan LaKohen Gadol, why is there a vice Kohen Gadol? Shem Irabo Psol, the reason is because if the Kohen Gadol becomes disqualified, Harei Nichnas u'Meshamish Tachtav, he has to be ready to serve instead of him, and therefore it's important to keep the Sgan Tahor, to keep him pure. And the Gemara continues, Adkan lo pligi ela b'kohen gadol v'nazir kika azli b'hadei hadadi. The whole machlokas we find among the Tanoim is, if you have a kohen gadol and a nazir that are walking together, who takes precedence? Aval chad l'chudei. But if the person would be alone and there'd be a meis mitzvah, let's say just a kohen gadol or just a nazir, bar itzmuyein, and they certainly should become tamei. They're supposed to become tamei for a meis mitzvah. Menohan imili, from where do we know this? The Tanu Rabbanan, as the rabbis taught, al kol nafshos meis lo yavo. It says he's not allowed to become tamei. He can't come upon the dead. Ba'meh hakosov medaber. What is the pasuk talking about over here when it says that the Kohen Gadol is not allowed to become tamei? Iber chokim. If we're talking about non-relatives, kal v'chomer, that's obvious. It's a kal v'chomer. Uma kohen hediot shu metami lekrovim. If a regular kohen who is allowed to be tamei to relatives, eino metami lerechokim, is not allowed to become tamei to non-relatives. Kohen Gadol sheino metami lekrovim. A Kohen Gadol who is not allowed to become tamei to relatives, eino din sheino metami lerechokim. Of course, he's not allowed to become tamei to non-relatives. Ela bikrovim hakosim medaber. Obviously, the pasuk is saying a Kohen Gadol is not allowed to become tamei to relatives. Uli aviv hu de'eino metami. But then you can make a drush as follows, because it not only says he can't become tamei to relatives, it says to his father, and we darshan only to his father he can't become tamei. Hametame hu lemeis mitzvah, but he is allowed to become tamei to a meis mitzvah, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Memches Amud Aleph.